Good morning, welcome to my channel. This morning I'm outside because I want to show you my gardens, mostly the vegetable gardens, but I'll take you around to some of the flower gardens as well because I've got some pretty flowers about to bloom. Maybe that's not as exciting as seeing them already blooming, but I'll show them to you. First step though, in any garden tour around here is tick spray. Here's some tadpoles. I make this and we use a lot of it. I didn't used to always use tick spray when I'm just in the yard, but this year it's been kind of bad. So here we go. Here's our first flowers. We have some irises and back here we have our peonies about to bloom. These buds have been teasing us for days, right, Leo?
Yeah.
They just keep getting a little bit bigger, but now they're looking really big. And it rained last night. I'm glad they hadn't opened because that really destroys a peony. A bunch of rain. So that's a little shade garden. This is my very favorite plant. It's a lady's mantle. It has fuzzy leaves, so it collects these little dots of dew. This is actually rain, but when it's just dew, it'll be just on the very tips of all of these leaves, and it's so pretty. And they get some lime green flowers. They're nice and shade. My daylilies, they're looking nice and big. Yep, Leo's saying we planted a lot of annuals this year for cutting. So there's one. A snapdragon right there. More irises. I have those everywhere. Now, and there's a rhododendron looking beautiful that just started blooming. Oh, I love spring. It is June 2022. All right, so here we are at the first of here's our vegetable garden. It's 5 raised beds. And then I do have a long garden along the edge of the yard that this year I'm doing only flowers in. Last year I tried some vegetables and it doesn't get as much sun. So we've got some herbs. This is oregano. I always put herbs and flowers in my gardens because they keep away bugs and they bring in pollinators. So then, and here's some zinnias. I always do zinnias. This year I've done a lot more than just zinnias though for flowers, but I love those and they're great for cutting and bringing in. I want to have cut flowers in my house all the time. Cucumbers, I started these inside and then I thought, why not just put so many more all over? I did in between there. Oh, there's a mushroom. It rained last night. And all there. I'm gonna have to thin these, I think. I don't like to thin because they're growing, but that's probably what you're supposed to do. I don't know. Tell me, what is thinning? Does it really make the plant that much better? Talk me out of it in the comments. Some parsley. Leo planted those for us in there. We started those inside. With parsley, I have like a rotating system where I always have first year parsley. This is first year parsley, but I'll show you. I leave parsley to come back for a second year, and it's a biennial. So the second year of parsley, it will flower and I let it go to seed, and then my ultimate plan is I hope to never have to start it inside, that it'll always seed itself, and then I just have it taken care of in the garden. I don't know that I'll always trust that, because what if it doesn't one year and I haven't started it? So maybe I'll always start just a little bit. But this is kind of the third year, so I do have some coming up from seeds, so it worked not as much as I expected. So we'll see how things go. So there's the zinnias and the cucumbers. Then I have this pole here, and that's what you see. You see some of this white stuff. This is wool that I pulled out of my hanging. Birds use that for their nests, and it's really fun to come see them perch on that and take some. But the top layer of it had all gotten like green and mildewy. I wonder if I should bring it in the winter, or even just in the season that birds aren't using it. But anyway, I have this pole in the middle of this big bed, and I put morning glories, those little ones. And this year I did scarlet runner beans, and those will climb. Those are not for eating, to the flowers. Those climb that, and it just looks so jungly and beautiful. I've got cabbages all in here. There's 3 cabbages, and then leeks.
Looks like this one's doing good.
Yes, some of the cabbages are doing really well. Others are not. This one, I don't know if that's, where is it? It's right there. I don't know if it's going to make it. And I have radishes. I seeded a mix of radishes and lettuce all in this part of this bed.
So show them around the swing sets. So they
Oh, yes, I'll get there. Yep, okay.
in my garden.
Yep, if I forget, remind me. And then on this side of this bed with the morning glories in the middle, I've got 3 pumpkins, like big jack-o'-lantern type pumpkins. And that's why those are on the edge, because I'm assuming they're going to be giant and they can come over and grow onto this little patio area. So we can be sitting in the jungle. And then I just shoved in this little empty area right here, I shoved in bush beans. I don't even know how many I did. I just did some. I've actually never grown bush beans before, so I thought it would be a good way to fill in space, and they're nice for the soil, the nitrogen fixing that they do. And then I'll probably also later in the season, well, I guess I've got a lot of cucumbers. Maybe I won't be seeding any lettuce and radish, but this could potentially be an area for that. My guess is it's going to be full, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. All right, onto this bed, I have my chives. There's a Cosmo, tarragon, that just keeps coming back every year and it does so well. A marigold, I started these from seed as well and they've done so well. We even have one blooming right down there. Here, Leo is really on it. We do this every day, so he knows. Bok Choy, which actually I've planted before, but I had a terrible year of slugs a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and they destroyed it. So I have not, Bok Choy, not Bok Choy. I have yet to eat that, but it's coming up and I have not seen much slugs. What I stopped doing was mulching. I used to be really good about mulching. I thought, this is great, I'm going to keep all the moisture in the soil well. Slugs really like to live under mulch, so I don't do that anymore. Spinach here is coming up. Here's our 1 tomato plant this year, just a cherry tomato, because we like to snack on those, and those do well. Bigger tomatoes just seem to always get rot, and I don't know. Our CSA ones, our community supported agriculture, they have a greenhouse. Their tomatoes come in so early, so we're just gonna go with that, and they're beautiful. Marigolds. So there's some more marigolds kind of stuck in around. Those are really good for repelling. They have something in their roots that repels nematodes, I believe. A lot of basil this year. I started a lot of basil. You can tell which ones I started. They're kind of like more, they're not as green because I probably don't have very good lights. I just use a basement fluorescent light that we bring up. And then these are ones I bought because I wasn't sure if mine were I kept forgetting to water them and they were looking bad. So I bought some as like insurance, but everything made it. So now we have a lot of basil. That's fine. I'll make a lot of pesto and I freeze that and eat it all year. There's our first marigold flower. Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at that. Love it. Some thyme for cooking. And then here, I really crammed these gardens full. We'll see how it does. These are cantaloupes, 1, 2, 3. And I put them on the edge here so they can grow right into the path. So we won't be walking through here, but we're going to have a lot of stuff. And that's a rosemary, which every year I try to bring that in and have it live, and they never make it, but I'll keep trying. All right, behind me here in this garden, I have my garlic, some of my garlic, and there's a sage plant. This is its 3rd year. They don't always come back, but this one's doing really well, and they're about to bloom 2nd year and on. Or maybe, did it bloom last year, Leo?
I don't know.
Certainly 2nd year it bloomed, and it's blooming this year. This is the 4th year for this particular sage plant. And they get beautiful purple flowers. And then in among these garlic, which I planted in the fall, I planted beets. And I think my seeds are kind of old. There's one. There's not as many as I planted coming up. So I don't know. I might need to get new seeds. These are a couple years old now. This garlic we can start eating. This is like, you can pull this up. There's no bulb yet really, but you eat it like a scallion, but it's garlicky, mild. And then the next step will be scapes, and then the bulb. The garlic is amazing. It just keeps on giving. And then I have another marigold down here. And that's it for that garden. Then we come over here. More garlic, and in this garlic I did chard. And that's doing a little better than the beets as far as coming up. There's one, and I don't need as many of these either. There's one over there. We'll see how it does in there. I haven't planted something in there like that before, so we'll see. There's a Cosmo. Now here's my parsley. Most of this, I've got my friend here.
This one's actually blooming.
Okay. He's finding the radishes that have bolted because it's been so hot and pulling them out, and we'll use the greens, and they have tiny, tiny radishes. So this right here, this one is the only one that came back from last year. That's a second year parsley. The rest of them did not make it, which surprised me because the year before every single one made it. And you can see it is a little bit of a darker green because it's been living out here. These were started inside, but they'll be fine. And then we have, this is another bed I did of radishes and lettuce. I just mix the seeds together and sprinkle them. Radish, lettuce, and this, I had carrots for this one too. So there's carrots in here. There's some right there. And there's lettuce and then the radishes. So the idea is that the radish grows up quick. You pull it out before the carrots need any space. And the lettuce, of course, doesn't take up root space. So the radish, the carrot and the lettuce can coexist. And that works really well.
How
so
do I get this ant to feed to that crayfish?
Oh, he wants to feed an ant to the crayfish that we have. Maybe get a jar from inside. Yesterday he got from the pond nearby, he got one crayfish with a bunch of tadpoles, and they're like, oh, how exciting, a baby crayfish. Well, we looked up what to feed it because we're going to keep these on our deck for a few days to watch them. And then we'll put them back somewhere. We've got lots of water. You can hear the river maybe across the way. We looked up what crayfish eat, and it said dead plant matter, worms, and tadpoles. So we took it out of the tadpole collection, and now he fed it a worm last night, ate the whole thing. That was cool. Also in this bed where I have the garlic and the radish, lettuce, carrot mix, I have a little watermelon there. That's going to come over into the path. And a little watermelon there, which will also come over into the path. We won't be walking through here for, the whole season, but that's okay. And then on the other side, I just kind of dug out around it because Nora wants to smell. There's a little watermelon there. It's getting very shaded by all this stuff. So we'll see if that one makes it. 2 watermelon plants is probably enough, but this would be plenty of room for it to grow because this is just out in the grass. That's not our path. So I might come in here tomorrow and pull some more of these radishes, which are really just going to seed anyway. They're not doing much. It's been too hot. So then peas, which went in so long ago in April, which was freezing here. They're over here on this bed too. That they're really starting to go up. There's no flowers yet that I see, but they're there. And then here are green beans. These are the climbing variety because here's the fence that they go up. And this year I stuck in some morning glories to climb that side of the fence, that corner. And I feel like I may have I didn't put scarlet runner beans because I knew that might be confusing because they look so much like these. But there may be, oh yeah, there's some morning glories in that corner too. So I'll have flowers on the corners, which I think will be really pretty. There's a kale from last year and zucchini. See, this garden is just packed. Zucchini. This is one I started. These are ones I bought. Oh, one of them is a summer squash. I don't know which one. I've been having such bad luck with zucchini. Isn't that weird? Like everybody always talks about how much zucchini they have. I've been doing one plant because I didn't want to overdo it, and I'm getting nothing. So now I planted 3, and I'm sure they're all going to be like crazy, and we're going to have too much zucchini. That's fine. I'll grate it and freeze it. There's a parsley that came up from seed, so that's exciting. And there's a little kale from last year as well. Oh, I forgot to show you in the middle of this bed is a kale that I'm going to let go to seed, and then they seed really well. I'll have kale coming up in this garden. I won't ever need to start kale again, I don't think. So that is it. I have a bunch of marigolds here. And I think I put a Cosmo in this garden as well. And oh, this is thyme. This is, I think, the 3rd or 4th year for this thyme. It doesn't look great, but I covered it with we put a bunch of composted manure, cow manure on our garden last year, and things got really covered. Like this lemon thyme over here last year, I really covered it with that, and it didn't really come through that well. It's there though, so maybe next year. Okay, and now we come over to our long garden bed that goes down the side. I started this last year was my first year for this, and I wanted to make it vegetables. I wanted to do like melons and things that were very viney, but things didn't grow very well because it doesn't get as much sun. So a couple lilacs here, and I planted comfrey here and there. This I will cut this down like this weekend probably, and lay it in my vegetable beds. And there's so many nutrients in a comfrey plant because it has a really deep root. So it goes down and gets nutrients up to into its leaves that other plants can't reach. So those leaves will be really nutritious for my garden. My dad thought I was crazy for planting this because it's really hard to get rid of once you have it. But if I think, you know, it gets mowed on each side, it can't go too nuts. And I'll always be cutting it down. Hazelnut, this is the third year for the hazelnuts. They were just sticks when we got them. We have one there and one there. And I think next year it said 4 years and they could start producing nuts. So we might have hazelnuts next year. This is Leo's garden. He's so proud of. He picked out marigolds, a petunia, and 2 stevia plants, which he likes to eat. He has a piece of stevia and a piece of kale, and he calls it sweet kale. Here's a garlic chive. Leo also really likes those. They're good in eggs and anywhere you use scallions. Then this is my, so this year, this is my flowers. I want to have cut flowers inside all the time. So I did tons of zinnias from seed. There's one. There's a lot of those. Cosmos.
Cosmo bloom.
And then I,
Cosmo bloom.
nice. Oh, let's look at that. Our first Cosmo flower. Oh, it's very sunny. That's pretty. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Catnip. Oh, this, I don't know how good this is going to come through because it is sunny. Bachelor buttons, asters, a bunch of sunflowers came up from seed. I just made sure that when we had planted sunflowers last year and I laid the heads down in the garden, so we got a couple clumps. There's a big clump of sunflower. I did start one just in case, but they have come up. I think I should actually do this from the other direction. We've got a big hosta down here that's always been here since we moved in. And this year I think I want to put impatiens around it. This doesn't get very much sun at all. I mean, it gets enough. It's sunny right now, but quickly that goes into shade. But impatiens will be nice there. And then, yeah, I did those same flowers repeating all the way down this bed. So next time we do a garden tour, whew, it's going to be hopefully full and beautiful and colorful. Now, Leo wants to show one more thing. We put some plants right around his swing set legs to climb up. So we have a scarlet runner bean that's going to climb up that post, and a morning glory. And the other post doesn't get as much sun. Those didn't come up. And if they don't climb here, I'll do what I did around my pole in the garden and wrap some twine or something that they can grab onto. So that's it. There's a little scan of our gardens. It's nice to see you today. I'll see you next week. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll be back again next Monday.